Hey, what's up, people? Piz out here, and my month-long October Halloween-A-thon continues with my review of Halloween Resurrection. And Halloween Resurrection finds Laurie Strode, played one final time by Jamie Lee Curtis, housed in a mental facility following the events of Halloween H2O, in which she believed that she had decapitated her brother, Michael Myers. Probably one of the most definitive endings in any franchise sequel. Of course, it's explained within the first 10 minutes of this film that she did not decapitate her brother, but a poor orderly, or poor paramedic instead, I'm sorry. So she's flipped her lid, she's hanging out in this mental facility, and she's just sort of biding her time, waiting for Michael Myers to eventually track her down, which he does, which leads to an altercation on the roof of the facility, which ends with Laurie taking one final dive. This leads Michael Myers back to his house, to a homecoming in Haddonfield, only to discover that Busta Rhymes and a group of college students are shooting a webcam show inside his house. And he's not very happy to find these trespassers on his property, as anyone would, and goes about killing them off one by one. And that is the plot for Halloween Resurrection. And I have to say, I was kind of dreading getting around to this film in particular, because I cannot think of one single, solitary, redeemable quality in this film. It is a horrible film at every level. Let's just dive right into it. Let's just talk about the opening of the film, the face-off between Laurie Strode and Michael Myers on like the roof of the mental facility. Just a horrible sort of swan song for Laurie Strode's character. She goes out like a dumbass. She goes out like an idiot. Why would you Laurie Strode is the preeminent, I mean, she is the survivor girl, the preeminent survivor girl, and Jamie Lee Curtis is the preeminent scream queen. How could you let her go out like a dumbass? How could she have survived 3 films and then go out in the first 15 minutes of Halloween Resurrection the way that she did? Her demise is so, not only is it so totally unceremonious, she just goes out like an idiot. It's, just really, I mean, just, and that just sets the tone, really, for what's to come with Halloween Resurrection. I just remember, when the film was being made, when the film was first announced, which, I mean, there was no doubt they were going to do another film after H2O. H2O was a huge success. It introduced the Halloween franchise to a whole new generation of horror fans, and it was only a matter of time before they cashed in on it. Yes, they were going to immediately explain, oh, it wasn't Michael that got decapitated at the end of Halloween H2O. It was somebody else. And then just give us, another Halloween film. I was kind of excited at first because they announced that Rick Rosenthal was coming back to direct, who directed Halloween 2, which I think is a really good sequel. Jamie Lee Curtis was coming back, but there was no question, even at the very, onset of, when this film was announced, this was going to be her final Halloween. She was going to die in the opening sequence. It was going to be a big face-off between her and Michael Myers, big dramatic face-off, but she was going to fall. So that I thought was kind of interesting to see how they would set that up, how they would do that. And what I thought was interesting too was if you killed off Laurie Strode, which you've established through this series that she is Michael Myers' sister, you remove Michael Myers' motive. Who does he really have left to kill? Because they're not going to bring Josh Hartnett back, because at this point Josh Hartnett was a big star and they're not going to pay him, they're not going to pay him his salary to come back. So basically, Michael Myers is reduced back to the Michael Myers from the original Halloween. He has, no motive. He is just a force of evil. And here are these people trespassing in his house, and it's just going to be, I thought that could be very interesting. A motiveless Michael Myers doing what he does best, which is just kill everybody in sight. Of course, those hopes were dashed pretty quickly because it was widely reported, that the movie was the making of the movie was messy. There were plenty of reshoots. It was just not going to be a solid film, and they released it in July. They actually released it on my birthday. We have a Halloween film. Let's release it in the summer. It was just like one bad thing right after another, and then finally seeing the film. The opening sequence with Laurie Strode's demise, like I said, horrible. The characters are horrible. There's not one character that stands out in this film, aside from Busta Rhymes' character, which I'll get to momentarily. The characters are awful. The dialogue is awful. None of the characters are special. None of them stand out. None of them you really give two craps about. The movie just looks really, really, really cheap. Really cheap. It's like totally confined to just like this one house. You have other people, like you have like a party watching what's transpiring on, their computers. The whole story was supposed to be inspired by Orson Welles' War of the Worlds, where, he convinced the world that this contrived story of aliens, besieging planet Earth was real. In this case, they were going to try and, they're broadcasting this on the computers, and everybody thinks, well, it's fake, when it's really not. It really is Michael Myers there killing people in front of a viewing audience, which could have been an interesting story if done far, 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 far better. So we've got an awful ending with a totally unceremonious, awful demise to Laurie Strode, one of the most beloved characters in horror history. Then you have Michael going back to the old Myers house, where it's populated by just flat, faceless characters with awful dialogue. And then on top of that, you've got Busta Rhymes. Busta Rhymes cast in a Halloween film. It's oil and water. They wanted to continue this trend of, casting musicians, rap artists, whatever, to try and bring in a young audience, to make it hip, to make it cool, to bring, Busta Rhymes fans who probably aren't really big horror fans into the horror genre. And it is some of the worst casting, some of the worst acting in horror history. The lowest point, not just in this franchise's history, but the lowest point, quite possibly in the history of all horror cinema, is Busta Rhymes kung-fuing Michael Myers. Whoever wrote that, the people who shot that and thought, yeah, this works, this is cool, those people should be imprisoned. Those people should be in jail, should be jailed. That was the lowest point easily in this series, and I've not even gone on to Rob Zombie's Halloween yet. Lowest point, not only in this series, but quite possibly in all of horror cinema, is Busta Rhymes kung-fuing Michael Myers. Watching that sequence, it made me physically ill. I wanted to vomit. It had that kind of impact on me. The ending of the film, which I understand they reshot like 3 or 4 times. There was at least like 3 or 4 endings to this film. They had no idea how to end it. The ending that they did go with is horrible. It's just a bad film all the way around. I cannot think of one discernible, redeemable quality with this film. It's garbage. It's trash. It's awful. They wanted us to believe with H2O that Halloween 2 through 6 did not exist. I would love if you could erase Halloween Resurrection from my memory. I would let you do that. If you could do like a total recall or something where I could just totally remove all memories of Halloween Resurrection from my brain, I would totally allow you to do that. This is the film that should be removed from the franchise. It should be forgotten from this franchise. It's just an awful film. If any of you guys out there like this film, please explain to me why. Explain to me if there are redeemable qualities to this film. try and explain it to me. I'll take them into consideration. But for me personally, this film is garbage. It's trash. This is the film that should be forgotten in the Halloween series. I cannot think of any redeemable qualities that this film possesses. So that was my review slash rant slash trashing of Halloween Resurrection. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And like I said, if you can point out one redeemable quality about this film to me, please do so in the comments below. I would love to hear it. But anyway, until next time, you guys take it easy. Hope you guys are all having a great Halloween season. So until next time, when I bring you guys my review of Rob Zombie's Halloween, take it easy.